Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of AZ Drone Talk. My name is Greg Riverdio,
And I'm Rich Charpentier. Thanks for stopping by.
and today we are talking about a subject that was brought up by one of our viewer, which was, can I fly over Indian reservations? So we did a little bit of research and came up with some answers. So, Rich, go ahead.
Well, reservation land, so we're in the desert southwest in Arizona, and there's actually a lot of reservation land around here. So, driving over to Colorado, going through New Mexico, you start crossing a lot of reservation land. As a matter of fact, going north of Flagstaff, so just an hour and a half from us, you start running into reservation land, the Painted Desert, areas heading over to Kayenta and over to some of the amazing monuments out there, Monument Valley. And bottom line, a lot of this stuff is private reservation land. These are separate nations, so they do have their own rules. And when driving through reservation land, you find a lot of beautiful areas, but the big question is, can I fly this?
Yep, legally. So, one of the first thing that we need to remember is that the airspace is not controlled by the foreign nation. The airspace is controlled by the United States, and so in this case, yes, the airspace is open. Airplanes that fly in that airspace do not have to ask for permission, but you are flying a drone and you're flying from a much closer area. So you're going to be more than likely, if you want to fly your drone over an Indian reservation, you're going to be located on Indian land. And that's where the issue comes in. So from a legal standpoint, before you fly, you should have permission from the tribe and get permission from the tribe before you fly from their land. And that's very important. There's been reports of people getting arrested, drones being confiscated because they did not ask for permission. Now, remember that they have their own police and they are able to arrest you if they need to, and they will. And so I don't know what you want to add to this.
So I've driven through a lot of reservation land over the years, working with customers in Colorado, Arizona, Utah, and New Mexico. And some of the areas, even to visit some of the amazing canyons, like where you did your marathon last year, you need a guide into some of those canyons. So this is just to physically walk in and enjoy the scenery. You're going to be required to actually have a guide to bring you into some of the canyons on reservation land. With that in your head, just for a hike in with a still camera, I think launching a drone is probably going to be more interesting to them, especially if you're not doing it legally. So I think the best bet is always to contact each nation when you're visiting the area if you want to do photography. I was actually told in one area I've always wanted to photograph Shiprock, which is right on the Colorado-New Mexico border, and I was advised by several friends who live in the area that I would absolutely need a guide to go in where I wanted to. So with that in my head, just physically being on the ground, I already know and can anticipate I'm probably not going to be able to do my drone without also asking and checking.
Yeah. And there is, I'm sure there's a process for each of them, each of the tribes, but go in and ask, contact them before. Do not try and go in there. Very disrespectful, and they don't take that very lightly. The other thing that you may ask is, well, can I fly from outside of the reservation into the reservation? Sure enough, legally you could. Should you do it? I'm going to let you decide on that, but I personally wouldn't. It's kind of like the idea of being outside of a national park and flying over a national park. There's a reason why these rules are in place. There is a reason we need to respect their land as well. So I just wouldn't do it. Just sit at the edge and then fly over. Just very disrespectful. And from a privacy standpoint, again, you got to think about what you're doing. So I think that's really all we need to mention about this. But
the one other thing is they're in the Four Corners region, which is Colorado, Utah, Arizona, and New Mexico. A lot of these areas are also labeled national monuments. So not only is there reservation land going on, but there's also national monuments going on. So you really need to do your homework before you go across reservation land or you want to film in some of these amazing areas. Because the excuse that I didn't know or I wasn't informed isn't going to help you out.
yeah, and from what I read online, there are places where it's not necessarily obvious that you entered reservation land. Also, It should be noted, we always talk about the sectional chart, and a sectional chart having every piece of information you need to fly. Well, that's one of them that is not on the sectional chart. So if you're looking for that information, it's not going to be on the sectional chart. You want to make sure you look for it somewhere else. And I'm not sure where that would be, but I'm sure there are some maps somewhere that will show the boundaries for all the different reservations. All right, well, this is it. Please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions or any topics that you want us to talk about, go ahead and mention them in the comments, and we'll be happy to do so.
Yeah, we'll see you guys on the next episode, and fly safe.
All right, see you guys.